Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Betting Diary. I think it makes sense. I know my follower Batoshi, who's following a lot of the tipsters in the portfolio. He's doing a 1 month summary, and I think that's a better kind of timeline to talk about the progress of the tipsters and how the project's going as a whole. Because otherwise it just gets a bit stagnant on a weekly basis and you're hearing a lot of the same things, so it just keeps it a bit fresher. Yeah, very much enjoyed doing the deep dives, and looking forward to seeing how it impacts on the results. Obviously the current month, February, was not much about anything in the end. I think there was we're about -1 point officially. I'm about 1 point up on the odds that I got. Obviously, I tend to get better odds because I'm betting it straight after or very soon after. And yeah, so this month it was the high limit markets weren't quite as good, and the all markets we hit a few nice 2-1 set scores. But yeah, there's not too much happening either way. I feel like I think it was just a really important month for me in figuring out my strengths and weaknesses, where how to tactically approach a week going forward. I know now that I can be a lot more relaxed on Monday, Tuesday. And I think it makes it easier for you guys that are following numerous tipsters if it's not heavy volume at all times. So it works out nicely in that hopefully the ROI should jump up. I'm really hoping to get it up from where it is at 2.5% for the year back up to 8 to 10% in the long run. And also, yeah, it just gives me a bit of a break from obviously it's quite a mentally intense job being a tipster and following all the tips. So just nice the last few days to just actually relax and watch the tennis, because I'm not putting as much out there. And just my observations, for the previous few days in terms of the bets that I might have taken a week before wouldn't have been profitable, sort of thing. So certainly I think it's the way to go moving forward. There's a lot more uncertainty in those early rounds for my style of betting. There's a lot to show that my strengths are really in the later rounds, and the ROI is really good for those times. So there's just no need to force it. I think, as I was saying, the live bets, let's just cut out some of them. A bit like the one earlier on EMA, I'm very happy with. Like, it looked like a slow court. The wind and stuff and the clouds were slowing everything down. And usually Botic has been pretty mentally weak this season. EMA is always mentally strong in deciding sets up until today. Yeah, just a lot of uncharacteristic misses. I guess with his forehand it is a bit more of a jerky shot, so in the wind it did look a lot less compact, which is just annoying. I really hate wind. It's such a rubbish variable for tennis betting, because it just sort of it's just, as I say, it's a pretty random event. It happens at a few events in a year, affects a few days of bets, and yeah, it's quite subtle as well. You only really think about it after. I'm not thinking about the errors on the forehand. I'm just suddenly noticing that there are errors, and obviously the explanation of the weather does make the most sense to me. But yeah, I kind of went on a sidetrack there. Generally speaking, I think I'm going to cut out a lot of the live bets, and I'm pretty sure we will get that ROI up. Just as a pointer on that, my blogger bets, I used to run a blogger bet account, and I did live bets on there. It was possible to use that function, and over a few hundred bets I had an ROI of 6%. So yeah, the results haven't been great on the bot so far, but I'm confident now that I'm going to create a bit more structure with that market, that that will turn in the future. So yeah, like excited for my betting looking forward. I think yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how because March has often been a challenging month for me. Like it's Indian Wells and Miami aren't always my favorite tournaments, but going into it with this new mindset, being cautious early, waiting out the value, yeah, it will be a good tester for me. So, in terms of the bot results as a whole, I guess the sort of summary of my month is almost the summary of the portfolio as a whole. It was profitable. We made for the bets that I took, we made £384, which is at £25 level stakes, which is about or 25 per point, pound per point, and yeah, so that's about 12, 14, 15 units kind of thing, which is it's all right, but 11, 12 units even, which is all right, but obviously, and an ROI of 2%. But yeah, it wasn't as big as the first month, a bit more of a consolidation month. It does go, I do have to say that I missed a massive Sunday though. So if I had been around for that Sunday where I think Portugal bets, he went on an absolute rip on the lower leagues, won something like 7 out of 8. And Bonds, I think, won something like 6 out of 7 on that Sunday as well. Those aren't included in the stats because I didn't get them. Probably would have got the ROI up to, I don't know, 6-7%, and it would have been a good month. So I'm sure that there are followers on the portfolio that have been doing well. MW value has made a great start, ROI of 21%. It is worth mentioning just because there was some confusion about the fact that the early sort of the bets are sent early, so the markets aren't formed as much. So yeah, the bets are made quite far in advance, and we're looking to sort of get closing value, and obviously that does kind of is more dangerous for your account in that sense, but equally there's not too many following. There's probably around 20 following at the moment. So I think the fact that there's not many people following the tips, it does add security to those accounts. I think the big problem is when you've got a tipster that's like really, has gathered a large following where there's 200, 100, 200 following tips, and if suddenly you've got that many people following, it's so easy to link accounts and then get restricted, whereas in some senses this is still under the radar, yet the results are really strong. Obviously hit a 17-1 winner on the weekend, which was yeah, great. I was watching that final few minutes tensely, because if you're kind of shot at 17-1 is 3-2 up and you've got 4 minutes left, I just kind of assumed there'd be an equaliser, but no, got the winner there. And yeah, for anyone that's interested, Top Notch Draws has made a really strong start to the year actually. Made an ROI of 29.7%. Like, I think he's being really selective with the bots that he's the picks that he's selecting on the bot now, which is a subsection of his Picchio. And his Picchio is now showing an ROI of 6% over 350 picks now. So it's starting to look pretty solid. As I said, he's now using the back testing with a far larger collection of bets over the course of 10 years for his strategies to be implemented. So yeah, I think it's a case where I might put it back up on the website in a month or two if the results continue to be strong. And if anyone is interested in following, just send me a DM and I can sort of show you the way to get started with Top Notch Draws. It's pretty, I've noticed almost every bet is on the exchange, and you can get the prices on the exchange. Like if you see his stats, you're probably beating those stats on the exchange for the draws so far. So yeah, like if the results are good, like it's a great betting option. So yeah, obviously didn't want to plug it too much with the track reset on Picchio and so forth, but and obviously there is just that caution that the sample is still not massive for the year, so obviously don't follow if you're not sure. But as I say, there's a lot to be encouraged about in terms of the start we've made to the year. So yeah, like as the port, like AA, AAA better had a similar month to me, whereas a bit back and forth, but yeah, break even on my stats. So yeah, all the tipsters like very happy with how everyone's doing on a general level. If we sort of go to the all-time stats, then all the tipsters have an ROI of above 2%. All the tipsters have made at least 4 points, at least 5 points profit for the year in terms of the bets that I'm tracking. So yeah, it's one of those where you know you have to be very satisfied with how things are going, and just hoping, you know, hope it continues. Hopefully next month's a bit more of a slightly higher profit month, but we'll see what happens. Next thing to cover, just yeah, it's been an interesting one because I've got so many new features for the bot that I'm looking forward to integrating, and so many ideas. My brother has just moved house in the last couple of weeks, so he's had a lot to do with sort of setting up that, and everyone knows how long these kind of things take in terms of how much time they take out of you alongside his full-time job. But really excited to kind of keep rolling this bot project forward when we've got time to introduce these new features. Really like I think the new kind of referral scheme that I'm going to have, and it's going to be very beneficial to those that are sort of really integrating in with the bot system. So looking forward to sharing exactly how that's going to work in hopefully the coming months. And also a few new tipsters probably will be starting in the next few months as well. So plenty to keep in mind going forward, and just have to say I'm really just enjoying this project as a whole. Really glad that I've started this, and yeah, appreciate everyone that's been following all my videos, because I know I have sort of released a lot. So yeah, like I think I've pretty much covered everything I want to say now. Yeah, obviously if anyone has any feedback regarding just the different tipsters, and anyone wants certain questions answered about the tipsters, then feel free to ask. Just want to quickly say as well that if you do buy points for one tipster and then you don't like how it's going, I know the easy option probably feels to be less transfer points to another tipster, but I do want to say that going forward, it's not something that we're going to allow, or it's something that we want to have, because like we have a revenue share that happens at the time with the tipsters. Once the payments are made, they're shared out, and if you're jumping between points, that becomes between tipsters, that all becomes quite complicated, and we just prefer to say that it just try and be as sure as you can that you want to follow the tipster, because refunds and stuff are messy, and I don't really want to be doing it. So yeah, that's just a little side thing that I want to say, so that if I get any questions I can just refer to this little clip. Yeah, cheers, and we'll check in whenever I have some new content or news to share. Thanks, guys.